Like the real story of Adam and Eve.
I'm going to divide the Adam and Eve story up into two components. First of all, the human relationship component, and second of all, the sin component. The way I understand it, and of course, the biblical text is very, very concise, and there's so much in mysticism and Jewish philosophy that enhances the temptation. They were lustful for a fruit. Adam and Eve were gifted in every way except for one. They had incredible minds, far greater minds than anybody could imagine. Incredible hearts. They were very, very sensitive. They were very pure. They didn't bring with them 100 generations of trauma from their parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents that God created them. The one thing they didn't have was experience. They were a clean slate. And God told them to trust him. And they wanted to experiment. I think that's a very legitimate way to tell the story. They were curious about what happens when you don't listen. And God said, I've given you every gift. I want you to trust me. Don't experiment. And anybody who knows anything about humanity knows that that's the critical test of every human being at every stage of his life. You want to find out what happens if I do the wrong thing. You want to find out if I open the other door. And God said to Adam and Eve, don't open it. Trust me. Do what I say. And Adam and Eve decided to experiment. And that act changed the nature of the world, changed the nature of humanity. Because all of humanity was thrust into the need for experimentation, trial and error. It's no longer as simple, black and white, as it was for them. We are constantly facing equivocal situations, not black or white, but gray. And we're never sure what's the absolute truth. In other words, they chose to experiment and created a civilization of people who only learn by trial and error from experimentation. That's the Adam and Eve story from the angle of eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In terms of their relationship, according to this is so understated. I don't know why this doesn't get more press, but everybody tells the story of an Adam and Eve being created from a rib of Adam. There's no such opinion in the Talmud. The more widely held opinion about Adam and Eve is they were created as complete specimens, complete human beings, back to back, attached at the spine. And they were two whole human beings, physically attached. They were male and female, according to the Bible. One of the basic separations in human beings and animals is that human beings are designed to be paired for life, not just for procreation. While animals, for the most part, are paired for procreation. The basic definition of a human being, it says in the Chumash, Zachar Nekeva Brom, male and female, he created them and he called them, the collective, the body, Adam. Adam is not male or female. Adam is human. A human being, as if you read the scriptural text in Genesis, and of course when you study these ideas in Zohar, it becomes flushed out. A human being is a man and a woman, and they were created physically attached. But their relationship was back to back, meaning to say, they couldn't have a meaningful relationship because they couldn't face each other. To have a meaningful relationship, they had to be separate people with their own free will. So the so-called operation severed that union, severed that bond, and allows them to face each other face to face, punnim upon. But now they're two people with two separate free wills and two separate abilities to judge and to criticize. So the relationship became much more complicated, much more meaningful, but much more complicated. And in a perfect world, two human beings meet, their minds align, their hearts align, their senses align, and their bodies align. If one or both of the members of the relationship fails their humanity, the union as a whole is diminished in its humanness.